Welcome to the Realm of Ideas is Free to All. This is the preview for episode 61, which we are calling the anniversary issue. And it is not actually anniversary because we've kind of gone past a year. What it is will be Julie and I's 31st anniversary of us together. But we kind of thought that it would be a good time.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. To kind of talk about what it was the original intention of the Realm of Ideas is Free to All, and what interestingly in just a very short period of time it's become. So it wasn't something we really intended to do, but it's something that kind of seems like it might be good to explain.
Mm-hmm.
I probably used the word politics more in the last 5 years than I did in the remainder of the rest of my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And I really kind of don't want to, never intended to, but I kind of found that it was the case, sadly. Anyway, so I will start with a piece from what might be my favorite book in the world. Well, no, maybe The Origin of Species. Anyway, David Hume's A Treatise on Human Nature, which again, I've read almost, this is like not even my first copy. I've read kind of almost into submission.
You really have.
Yeah.
It's so annotated.
Thank you, P.
It's Bruce's own version of the annotated
Yeah, I kind of
Alice.
think if like, it's funny. Yeah. So, one of the things that I've always felt is that there is no reason for me. There's no reason to believe that the universe is not knowable. It appears to be knowable, and as a result, there needs to be some monitor of that circumstance. And I believe that that circumstance is best understood to be some kind of concept of truth. So, basically, saying that, let me talk about something that kind of like resonates with me. Two things from this last piece in The Passions, which is the second book of the three books in the Treatise on Human Nature. The last section 10, is of curiosity or the love of truth. So in this case, Hume is talking about the fact that the idea of curiosity is indeed, loving truth, and that impulse that we have is basically that desire. So two things that stand out, and I'll kind of connect them. But we never are obliged to fix our attention or exert our genius, which of all other exercises of the mind is the most pleasant and agreeable. And then later on, he says, we must consider that there are certain desires and inclinations which go no farther than the imagination and are rather the faint shadows and images of passions that are real, passions than any real affections. So with that, let's talk about this idea. So Julie, give us a couple of words, and then I'll basically say my feeling
on
of
which
what I see
aspect that was
on this idea of like what to you was the realm of ideas, and what does it mean to you? Like when I say the realm of ideas is free to all, what does that mean to you, and how do you see this as a kind of a consequence, and has it shifted over the point that you've been involved to now?
Well, I see the realm of ideas as something that has a telescoping effect and a telescoping consequence.
Mm-hmm.
And by that, I mean, I believe that people saw ideas and the existence and persistence of intellectual ideas on one scale, on one plane, just like they saw many things at one scale, on one plane. And I would compare it to the birth of film and the silent films, where you basically had a cameraman who was very, very static, and all the action went by the cameraman in one scale. There were really no close-ups, no far-off shots, no extreme close-ups, no bird's eye views, no, Earth's eye view. Now, information is a telescoping thing. So when I think of the realm of ideas, I think of a coliseum on a grand scale, and I instantly see the entire structure, the entire engineering and architecture of the coliseum now in the gall on one leaf on one tree in the forest, and it shrinks down, and then inside that gall are the microscopic organisms that form a civilization of their own, unseen and incredibly complex, which are at that micro scale in the midst of building their own coliseums.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's how I see it.
So I've talked about the difference between freedom and social liberty, and I kind of think that one of the things that I felt was always a very important aspect and something I always loved about America was the fact that you never felt as if you didn't have the right to speak, and you didn't have the right to speak freely. Now, when I started this title of The Realm of Ideas is Free to All, I wanted people to understand that to discuss topics and to feel free to exercise your social liberty about the ability to speak freely about any topic at any time. This was something we are very happy. This is something that it is an incredible privilege that we enjoy. And it has benefited us because of the fact that from these discussions and these observations and these ruminations has come some of the greatest ideas in the history of man. So for me, I wanted to make people to understand that one of the greatest things about life is that ability to feel that you have the right to speak freely. So for me, it was an invitation to engagement. Unfortunately, in the short time that I've been doing this, and I started this in another platform, and I did about 50 units on that. Now I've done like more units on this. So this goes back 2 years. What I found, however, is that now it has taken on a kind of a subversive air because of the fact what I always assumed was a given is now a subversive statement as I have to proclaim it because it isn't a given anymore. And that is deeply, deeply troubling because we live in a time where people will tell you you don't have the right to speak freely and you will be punished and sometimes be the subject of violence, right, as a result of speaking freely. I know myself, and many people have told me this from the street to the highest realms of academia, that there are certain things that cannot be discussed in terms of they being spoken about or researched.
Quite a few things, unfortunately.
And this to me is disgusting and is depressing, and it shows the end of civilization. We even have situations where people are even saying that the truth is a distraction. And these people basically are people who exist in media. So when I think to myself, if you are substituting something for truth, what is it? I don't see anything, with the exception of maybe beauty or love, that I would say you can substitute for. But since the three of them are all intertwined, you're not sacrificing one. So I'm wondering what it is this other option is. And I would be interested in the fact that there's always an absence of what the substitute is, because I feel that that's actually somewhat, that the actually answer is somewhat nefarious. Yeah.
The objective truth, which is the absolute truth, has been supplanted in a very disturbing way with the subjective truth and the altered truth. And these are not versions of the same entity. They're not versions of the same creature. They're an entirely different species, and they're very toxic.
Agreed. Wow. So I think based on that, we will kind of talk about this and kind of like, I guess this is like the evolution of the idea in the public realm. I feel that that one of the things worth fighting for and dying for is the ability to maintain the that circumstance of being able to speak freely. And I think that we sacrifice all things of consequence the moment we resign ourselves to give that away. So that's where we'll be this Sunday, 31st anniversary. Julie and Bruce,
Yeah.
31 years. Okay, I love you, Puddle.
I love you, Pete.
For 31 years.
Call him Pete.
And yeah, P.
And
All right,
Puddle.
so as we say, the realm of ideas is free to all, and it's to the benefit of all for us to keep it that way.
Should I have a final?
Yes, say.
All great ideas should have the ability to rise in the sun, and now they've been dug into a hole and buried underground.
Precisely.
Precisely. Nice.